go, Anthony?
And that took us into the main event, which was the head of the table and the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, versus the Beast and the Cowboy, Brock Lesnar, who pulled up in a tractor in a last man standing match for the Undisputed WWE Universal Championship.
Now, I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, and I don't think I've ever done this in any of our discussions on podcasts or whatever. I've got 4 pages of notes on this one, and it's the first time ever I've given a match a 10 out of 10 for the following reasons. I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. I saw something in 30 years of being involved in wrestling and 53 years of watching it. I have never, ever seen. I mean, we saw Stone Cold, drive a truck up to the ring and whatever. We've never seen a ring pushed about a metre or so forward and then tipped up from one end. I actually thought that was brilliant. I don't know why, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And as you said, Anthony, when he came out in the tractor with the front end loader and the bucket and all that, this big 285-pound beast with his cowboy hat and all that. And I just thought from start to finish, I thoroughly, I actually marked out a bit. I actually enjoyed the match. They've now put Roman Reigns with a 680 days as champion in the same category as Pedro Morales, Bob Backlund, Hulk Hogan, and Bruno Sammartino as the only 4 wrestlers to hold the title for that period of time or longer. So he's an extremely elite company. And then the way the match actually started with Brock doing the Thesz press out of the bucket of the tractor, I actually liked it. I thought, wow, that's, different. You don't think there's much different in wrestling anymore, and you think, well, what could you possibly do that we haven't done, over the last 100 years? But I must say, tipping the ring up like that and the match how it went, I thought it was absolutely fantastic, personally. And I've still got 3.5 pages of notes, but I don't want to hog the conversation. But I really, really liked it. But I'd be interested, Mike, actually, in because you're more the, sort of the forensic ex-wrestler type thing, whereas I'm more the ex-commentator type.
All right, so for me, I gave it an 8.5. So I didn't bag it. And the reason it didn't get any more than that was purely because a lot of the match was hot shotted. The tractor picking the ring up, the finish with all the stuff piled on top of it was very late 90s, early 2000s WWF.
Yeah.
The match was like that. So never seen the ring hit like that before.
No.
The ring picked up like that before. It must have done some serious damage, huh?
It's a wonder how when they picked it up, the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the bucket was obviously holding it up.
Yeah.
But it's a wonder it didn't sort of like cave in or.
No, because there's no spring in them anymore.
Oh,
they're basically metal bars going through and then timber the other way. So and they don't rely on a center spring anymore.
Because you can see the boards underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not like that anymore. They're the way they are. They're a lot more flexible. You don't even need the chains, as you can see. You don't even need the chains from end to end anymore.
Yeah,
they're fixed, right?
Yeah.
So they don't require that anymore. But and like I said, I was spoiled from last week's ROH main event.
Yeah.
Right. To me, I gave that 10. That main event, 10 out of 10.
I'm definitely going to watch this at some point this week. Can I find it on YouTube, Anthony?
We'll get you a copy of it. We'll work out something for you.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right. The difference between the two matches is that one match was pretty much done amongst the workers in the match. In the ROH one, there was no real, except for one major table bump. There was nothing really outside of that was outside of what the guys were doing, working, how they were putting the match together. Where this match was really 100% surviving around all the external stuff going around the match to make the match great. So the match was good. I'm not, like I said, I enjoyed the match. I sat there, watched it, and said, this is the best match of the night.
Clearly.
Right. The interruptions with the Heyman spot was great.
Wasn't that good?
It was great. The Heyman
no one would have expected that.
No, right. And he put himself at harm's risk to keep the tribal chief safe.
Yeah.
Right. Then you've got
the Usos came out.
You had then Theory come out, and then the Usos, and then the numbers game on top of Brock, and then the finish.
Yeah.
And then Brock, other than shooting him with a gun, was the only other way you were going to keep him down other than piling stuff on top of him.
Well, how many stand-in 8 and 9 counts did they have? I think I counted 1, 2, 3. I think there was 3. There were 4 9 counts. There was about 3 or 4 8 counts, and there was about 3 7 counts.
Yeah.
They sort of all went to the last sort of second. Like, it was good in that respect. Like, but they actually did it well. Like, it wasn't like, you can see him waiting to get up at 8 or something. Like,
it was good. The way it was timed, the way it was done, it was really, really well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was an excellent match by 2 great performers. The only thing that I sort of, at the end of it, I said to myself, where to now?
Well,
that's my only negative. I have a negative about the whole thing. Where to now? Where does Brock go from this? And where does... I mean, Brock still looks strong at the end of it.
It may be was done.
But he was beaten.
Yeah, but it may be that it was done like that because it was reported very heavily that when Brock got to SmackDown and found out Vince had resigned or retired, whichever version you want to hear, he said, well, if he's out, I'm out, and walked out of the arena. Now, apparently it took a hell of a lot of coaxing. And if you listen to Jim Cornette, I don't know if it's true or not, there was quite a considerable amount of money paid over and above to get him to come back to SmackDown and obviously to do the pay-per-view. But maybe that's the last we've seen of him in WWE for a while of, hard to know. I mean, I don't think he'd need the money. I mean, he's been on millions and millions and millions, literally every appearance. So he was a Vince boy.
Yeah. Well, even then now, right, with way he's finished.
Okay,
right,
so
the way they've finished him off, right? No, I'm still talking of Lesnar.
Oh.
The way they finished him off, he doesn't really deserve another shot at the belt. But it was a no DQ. So whatever happens. You know what you're up for, right? Yeah. So, right. So he's now out the title picture. Let's say he does hang around. Let's say we do keep him on board. What do you do with him?
So
that's what I'm saying. He is a guy that you bring in. He's a big money guy. You bring him in, use him, and you let him go. And people, miss him, and then you bring him back. Right? He's not really suited to be the world champion because he doesn't want to be committed all the time to the belt. Right?
No.
And this where the hole is now with talent is you've got Reigns. What's next for Reigns? We're talking McIntyre. McIntyre really hasn't got the push behind him to say he's a real threat or he's a real interest to have that title shot. It'd have to be the only way you're going to make this interesting is put him over for the belt in Wales and have then Reigns chase him until he gets the belt back. Right, you're going to have it to make that interesting. You're going to have Reigns drop the belt to him. Or otherwise, everyone's assuming, including myself, is assuming they're just going to keep the belt on Reigns, and this is just a hole filler.
Well, in 5 weeks' time at Clash of the Castle on September 3rd, it is Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Maybe, and I mean, look, we could put up 25 scenarios and they might all be wrong. But if Drew wins and then Cody gets it off him, and then you got Roman Reigns versus Cody at WrestleMania or something.
Well, that's a possibility. Yeah, but you want to throw McIntyre under the bus.
Well,
what I'm saying is do you want to do that? Myself, if I was booking it, I would have it going backwards and forwards between the two guys, ending up with Reigns having it, and then all of a sudden Cody comes out from nowhere. I'm the number one contender. I would leave that belt on that because that's the match you want. You want to see Reigns versus Cody Rhodes.
Mate, but you never know what they might even do with Theory.
I don't know about Theory.
I don't know now. It's hard.
I don't know. He's lost 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Vince is not there anymore to act as that. I'm going to get away with it because Vince is here.
And he wants me to be. But I think he's got a lot of upside. I mean, I've said before, I see him as a another John Cena type.
Well, he's got to get a few wins under his belt, and he's got to be more, because at the moment they've had him winning under Vince by just getting through or getting lucky or everything because I've got Vince behind me. And then when he lost at WrestleMania, Vince come out. So they haven't built a potential heavyweight champion. They've built a guy that's been lucky and manipulative of the system. So
actually, just on that, and this is a slight side issue, but it is concerned with Theory. Last Sunday night, I was thumbing through the TV because there was nothing on, and I came across that NITV channel.
Yeah.
Which I think is the Aboriginal channel.
Yeah.
And they have a program on there called The Wrestlers.
Yeah.
And there was a wrestling program on, and that was centered around actually ROH. Mm-hmm. And at the time, there was Riddle, there was Drew McIntyre, and there was a very young 19-year-old Austin Theory. And he had sort of longer hair, but they're undercut, and he was a wee bit smaller than he is, but not much. And they were all going on about the potential he had at 19 and there, and they had a hell of a lot on him, and they were in his house, the kitchen, showing how he does protein, and he's got 2 little brothers and his mother, and how proud they are, and he's a real straight edge, like CM Punk, no drink, no smoke, no drugs, no nothing, real straight edge or whatever they call it. So just as an interesting sideline as a build-up to who he is, because there was a lot of stuff I didn't know. And I thought it was really, really, really good. So he's been building for a while, then his NXT run, and then... So they reckon he was the most natural guy who'd sort of come...
Oh, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. If you watch his timing and the way he works and everything else, I think he's getting to... I said this to Anthony in the middle of his match. He's getting now too much of a roll into drop kicks, roll into this, right? He's overdoing the role, right, for my opinion.
Okay.
But... because where it was like a one-off thing that he pull off every now and then that made something look spectacular, now it's becoming the norm.
Yes.
But no, I agree. He's very much a prodigy.
What Triple H wants to do with him now, I suppose. Does he follow Vince's path for him, or?
I would want him to be. I want him to get some wins, and because he's not a small kid, some wins and put him back in that belt run for, say, one of the lower belts, say your Intercontinental or your US Championship, and build this guy up over the next 18 months. That he's a real killer.
Can you do anything with him on the US title now that he had such a, really like a crushing finish? He tapped out.
No, I think you'd have to go back to the drawing board with him. And
I think it's a shame to go this far, to go that far back, don't you think?
No, I don't. I think now they'll have to. They'll have to put him in feuds with guys that are, that are good, that is believable that he can beat, and, work it from there and build him back up. I can't see. Look, I think the loss to that move to the Hurt Lock is instrumental to a Lashley Reigns program.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or it's instrumental to a Lesnar Lashley program because Lesnar never got out of it. He never got out of that hole once he was in it. He almost tapped out to it, right? So the Hurt Lock is probably the best lock in all of wrestling at the moment because he got Lesnar in it, and Lesnar couldn't get out.
It's a bit like the Ken Patera Full Nelson.
That's right. Well, that's what it is. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. And Billy Jack Haynes did it too.
Yeah, Billy Jack Haynes did it. Yep.
There's been a few, yeah.
I think the Master Lock. Which
Chris Masters, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that was important. That if he got one thing I did like about the last match before this match between Lashley and Theory was there was escapes out of the lock. He escaped it twice. I think the third time he got put into it. This one he just fell straight
in. Yeah.
But I think this is more to push him towards a potential push Lashley towards Reigns or Lesnar for money, and then sacrifice Theory for that. So I would go back and look at Theory and say, okay, well, if Lashley's got that belt, who's got the other belt? Right? And I'd run him on a course towards that guy and put that belt on him. Even if he cashed in the suitcase for it and then built back up again, I would build him back up, but he has to be a killer. It's no good putting a guy in there that's just got lucky every time.
No.
He's got to be a killer. He's got to be someone who's ruthless that will win, and has those qualities of a champion.
But he's had such a massive push.
It's not been a good push. It's not been a great push for him as his character itself. They've only pushed him as the flunky to Vince. Vince's pet. You want to be Bush to be, a guy where people say this guy's really, really good and he's dangerous as well as being intelligent.
Yeah.
And he's not.
No, I get that, but it'll be interesting. The whole thing sort of centers around, well, what next for Lesnar? I don't think we'll see him for a while.
I don't think so. No.
Maybe coming towards WrestleMania, you might, but or are they doing another Saudi Arabia? He might be something with that, but
if the sheik or whoever over there wants it, he'll get him because there'll be enough money to be paid.
Oh yeah. Apparently they paid $40 million to get Goldberg over.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
$40 million.
40 million.
I would have done it for one.
Maybe give 10 of that 40 to Brett. Bill. That might square things up a little bit.
But anyway, and what about you, Anthony? Where do you think it might go?
It's hard to say. Being that you don't if we look at this match here, Fury threatened he was going to cash in, he didn't cash in.
Well, he almost did.
To an extent.
He didn't officially, but yeah.
Oh yeah, well, until Lesnar beat the piss out of him.
Yeah.
But so there's still that Fury factor.
He's still got
There's still that Fury factor in this.
Yes.
Do I think that you're gonna have to put McIntyre over in some way at the UK pay-per-view?
Could be by disqualification. It could be by count out. It could be. I mean, there's lots of ways of winning without losing the belt.
But
Usos come out and they triple team him and he gets disqualified. Can't lose the belt on the DQ.
Yeah.
There's 100 things that'll happen or could happen.
To make that Fury feud viable, I think that they have to drop the belt and then
to be honest.
Pick it up another time back through
next pay-per-view,
or something like that. Yeah, I think so.
Match or some bloody thing, or
because if you just drop McIntyre now and say it's done, dusted,
he's done.
He's done. So
he's done as well. And then you got another one that's got no program.
Yeah, so I think that logically, if you're looking at booking that, you'd say, all right, well, he's going to drop it for 1 month. And it's going to be the Tribal Chief's mission now to get that belt back at all costs. And then you could probably cheat freaking well to get Reigns back the belt and still keeps, McIntyre looking strong. And he lost the belt. There'll probably be another match in between that as a rematch for it. And depending on which direction, which I'll say they'll probably stay with Reigns, Reigns gets the win via whatever,
Well, it depends whether this Reigns Rock thing comes off at WrestleMania or not.
I don't know if that'll happen.
The more it goes on, the more I'm thinking no.
You've got a guy now that's 50. He's got a movie career, right? He's got people that say, well, if you're going to,
but he's also
get injured,
he's got a 2-month clear schedule around WrestleMania.
He might, but, if you were an insurance company, you'd be saying, don't get injured.
Yeah, but
You know, that's one thing they've got to look at. Two, what is the advantage to him wrestling
I think it'll be a great mega match. Yeah, The Rock versus Reigns. Cousins.
Reigns has got to go over. Reigns has got to go over.
Oh, of course he does. Absolutely does.
You know, because if he doesn't go over, then the belt is null and void. He's got taken the belt and he's leaving.
Unless Reigns is not champion at that time.
Well, that's the only way it would work.
But then again, why would you maybe have the Rock Reigns match if he's not champ? Or, mind you, depends how they angle it. I mean, he might go on, you know, I'm the greatest Samoan ever and disrespect the others or something. And I mean, there's a few ways it could go.
Yeah, for sure. Just give me 1 second, guys. No, that's all right. That's good. Yeah, so that could be the that could be the problem. There would be, you know, what are you going to do in that situation if The Rock does pull the win? And Rock might not want to lose. It's bad for his image.
Yeah, true.
On the movie side of things. So, I don't know. I would see, I don't know. I could see maybe them tagging against, maybe The Rock tagging with someone against him and the Usos. Maybe, you know, Rock's come in to say you guys are doing the wrong thing, and he's got his own tag team partners, and they go in, they have a 6-man or something like that. One-on-one, I don't see any benefit to it. And two, how long are you going to leave the belt on this guy? It's already getting stale.
Yeah, well, it's been 680 days, so yeah, we're coming up to almost 2 years.
Yeah. It's not anything on Reigns'.
No, but he's just run out of people to, you know.
Interesting storylines, interesting things to work with. So yeah.
All right, so overall, we thought it was probably one of the better pay-per-views. Leaving your ROH one to the side.
No. Yeah, I think for a major event, I think maybe the one that we watched beforehand. Which one was that?
Money in the Bank.
No, Money in the Bank might have been a little better for me. As every match, as far as quality on every match and that, I'd be happy to. I'd give the show a 5 across the board. Main event saved it.
I think the main event truly made this pay-per-view for me.
It saved it. It saved it from being where I was calling it a 3.
I got to be honest with you. I haven't really enjoyed a match like this for a long time.
That was a great match. Yeah. Like I said, if it wasn't for the
stuff that we've never seen, like at our stage of our careers in life and wrestling,
to
see something completely new or different, you know.
But, you know, when we got to go to the length of lifting a wrestling ring up with a tractor to see something new.
But what's lift that you could do in wrestling that hasn't been done, Mick?
We've shot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, I agree. But at some point, like there's nothing really new that hasn't been done somewhere by some promotion, be it WWE, WCW, whatever. Like ECW. Like there's nothing new. I mean, I've been watching for.
There's nothing new, but it's how you tell the story that makes it new. And when you're hot shotting like that, like in this match where it's just full of hot shots, they're not telling a story that's any new. They're not doing anything they haven't done in any other match beforehand in recent times. Only they've added a tractor in the ring.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I looked at it. Oh wow! Like,
you know, you could have had this better set up. You know, where the Money in the Bank case from that point on. They could have had somebody like McIntyre win it. No offense to thing, but he's a legitimate contender, McIntyre.
Yes.
Win it. And at the end of that match, he comes out and beats Reigns.
Yeah, but bearing in mind the Usos were out there at that time.
Yeah, I was saying.
It would have ended up a 3-on-1.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you could have orchestrated that so it was different. You know?
You could have had the Street Profits come out and take them out, but you couldn't because if they're going to split them, you can't really have them come in.
But you could have used them on the night. You could have even used the Mysterios and set up a tag thing against them with the Mysterios. A short-term one, possibility.
No, not strong.
You know, right? Or another face team, maybe the New Day or someone like that, take care of them. But there's options. There's options of bringing tractors in and lifting rings up, and that's killed the industry. All of that stuff over the years has killed the industry. The beer trucks, the milk trucks, the exploding rings. So that's killed the industry because what else do you do?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing really left.
Yeah, so instead of we now need to reside on more the storyline and telling the story and having people invested in the storyline instead of invested in the carnage that happens in the match. Like hardcore killed the industry as well.
Oh.
It really has, because now I need to roll around in broken glass and blood to get over. This should never be the case.
No, I agree with that.
And then that's what we're getting into. So that's why the main event was great.
Yeah.
Sold by a whole heap of people, right? Yeah. That come in there and was a team effort. But
let's not also forget the whole Dolph Ziggler angle with Theory.
Well,
they've been building that too, so that would legitimately be almost his next sort of little feud.
Yeah, well, that's something he needs, and he needs to win that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Dolph.
I mean, there was talk of Dolph coming in to replace Riddle with Seth Rollins, but that didn't happen. But that would have been a good match.
Yeah, but they need to look at instead of this is the problem with this is my concern with the booking down there at this point is that whether Triple H will go back to D-Generation X booking and we're going to have a load of tanks running around the outside of the building and hot shotting all over the joint. I don't know if they can book outside of that hot shot, but by the looks of what I saw tonight, I don't think they can book outside that hot shot theory.
Well, let's wait and see, because as they said, and they made a point of saying in some of the off-air stuff, that, this was a tribute to Vince and this had his fingerprints all over it.
I don't know how.
Let's see what happens going forward from Monday.
I don't know how convinced Vince would have been with having a $15,000 ring smacked with a tractor and then lifted up on an angle and twisted. That's be a write-off, that ring now.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't care.
He'd be an absolute write-off.
He wouldn't care in the slightest. That's chicken feed for 50,000 bloody people paying top dollar to go in there. The ring, they'll have people there build one in a bloody 2 days.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that's an issue at all.
Yeah.
Over there, rings are like dimes. Rings are like dimes. Rings are